Hi everyone! Hello! Welcome to Ask Me Anything. Hello everyone! Hi everyone! Welcome to Ask Me Anything. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for joining in. Now this is part of our Aphasia Awareness Month outreach program. You have come to Ask Me Anything. Tonight we are really fortunate to have with us a very experienced physiotherapist and a good friend of mine, Kerrine. Kerrine is a neurophysiotherapist. Okay, but first let me tell you what we're doing tonight. So tonight's program, Ask Me Anything, is part of our Aphasia Awareness Month program. We have a series of educational outreach programs. So this is one of it. And apart from Ask Me Anything, we also have our Connecting the Dots. So Ask Me Anything is on IG Live every Tuesday, and Connecting the Dots happens every Thursday. This coming Thursday, if you're free, please join us on our Facebook Live. We have a great interview dialogue session coming up with an expert who talks a lot about total wellness and mental health. So we have Jonathan with us this Thursday. And if you are keen to find out more about aphasia, who better to tell us than somebody who has actually gone through the experience of having aphasia. And we are very fortunate this Sunday to have with us a very esteemed speaker. I'm trying to find her poster right now. So the speaker is Haiyan. Let me look for it. So some of you might know Haiyan as a playwright, and she actually came public with the information that she suffered a stroke 2 years ago and had aphasia. You know, when you think about how does a playwright actually go through the experience of having aphasia and dealing with self-identity and all that, it's going to make a very compelling and cozy dialogue session. Please join us this Sunday. So, okay, without further ado, I am going to invite our speaker. Okay, let's see. Yay, yeah. Thank you so much. Let me welcome who will be sharing with everyone about physiotherapy and neuro rehab. Yeah, so we're very excited to actually have her on board.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi Evelyn. Thank you for having me. Hi everyone, I'm Kerrine.
Hi. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. So
thank you for having me.
We actually put up this AMA to ask questions on our Instagram Live and Instagram stories. So already we have quite a few questions. So I think in view of time, because it's not much time, we're gonna just hop right into it. Okay, get into the meat of things. Okay, so one of the questions that we received from our stories was, what do you mean by neurophysio, and how is it different from normal physio?
Okay, I think first let me explain what is physiotherapy. So physiotherapy basically means we do through exercises, through muscles and joints, through basically exercises. We try to get people well. Like for example, the most common one that people can associate to is like maybe say you have ankle sprain. And then you suffer from pain and you can't really walk. So how do you manage the pain? And then after that, normalize the walking so that you can return to say things like playing tennis or like jogging, or for that matter, just wearing high heels. So basically through exercises, that's how we treat our patients. What is neurophysio? Okay, neurophysio simply means physiotherapists who work in the area with the neurological population. So neurological population basically means anyone with brain or spinal cord injury. So it's actually a very wide area that you can even zoom into conditions like, for example, one of the most common ones are like stroke. Then you have brain tumor excision. So sometimes, after a surgery, you cut through some parts of the brain tissue and you have some deficits. So then we also deal with neurodegenerative diseases like Parkinson's plus, cortical basal degenerations as such. Or like lateral amyotrophic sclerosis. So these are like the neurodegenerative areas. Then we also have the other population that's to do with like, the spinal cord injury that has no issues with cognitive. That means things like cognitive issues, um, but has issues and everything and anything to do with neck down. So things like even breathing, even lifting up the hand or walking, or even for that matter turning in bed.
Mm.
Yeah, during the acute phases. Yeah.
Right.
So basically, neurophysio simply is a physio who deals with the neurological population as such.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good question because I think perhaps the person who's asking this question is wondering then what other types of physio, what other specializations or what other
Okay.
mm,
I may not cover all the areas, but as wide as medicine go, that would be as wide as physio goes. So maybe just in Singapore itself, we have the pediatric physios who deals with children and infants. Then within itself, they have their own subspecialty as well. Then we have the women's health physio who does like pelvic floor. So for example, after a pregnancy, you get back pain or like things like stress incontinence when you cough and unfortunately there's some leakage and you need to seek help early because later on in life, then they'll suffer things like incontinence.
mm,
Yeah. So that's women's health. Then we also have the very common ones, not say common, but like the more widely known ones, like those who are in the sports area.
mm.
Uh, they may specialize in just one sport, like for example, cycling. They'll do like bike fitting. Some people who ride like long distances, like triathletes.
Ah,
Yeah. So those are like more sports physio. Then we also have like the musculoskeletal ones, who also encompass the sports physio, who deals more of like aches and pains, like
mm,
I've mentioned earlier. Then we also have the less known ones, burns physio.
mm.
In Singapore, there's only uh, two burns unit. The largest one is in SGH, and then the other one I think is in NUH, a smaller one. So these people are highly specialized and highly niche. Um, and very highly sought after. I mean, when it comes to burns physio, because they are the ones we equip with healing of wounds.
Mm.
Yeah, like bandaging and how to uh, overcome contractures when the skin start to contract when it's healing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically that's that. Then we have the neurophysio, and yeah, that's what I can think of my head. Yeah,
That's a lot. That's a
there's
lot.
a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
I'm curious how many physiotherapists are there registered in Singapore?
I think 2,000 over,
Oh
if
my
I'm not
god, that's
mistaken.
a lot, man. ST says
Yeah, last
therapists there's only about 600 plus, 600 plus. So that's
yeah 2,000 over. Yeah.
wow.
Because I think because we cover more widely, like the moment you have aches and pains, we can help you. Whereas I think speech therapy is very niche as well.
Of
It's
course,
very, very niche.
certainly.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I always tell
But we really need speech therapists.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Like the nursing homes.
yeah, you're right. I think
Yeah.
um, my dad was unwell. He needed physio, and actually after I realized that physiotherapist uh, works with patients very closely, post surgery and for pains lah. You're right. So I think speech in that sense is a lot more niche. Not everybody has swallowing or communication impairment. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's also an area that's very underlooked because I mean I've worked with Evelyn on many, many patients, like
Yeah.
way back when I was in the hospital until now that I set up my own clinic. We have been working with each other on some very complex patients,
Yeah.
and I really see the improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really see the improvement.
It's so important. I mean, I think we all know the importance of having holistic treatment and multidisciplinary team and even transdisciplinary. But it's not so easy sometimes to actually find good team members that you can really work
Yes.
together. Yeah. So it's amazing when
Yeah. So take for example, like we have certain cases, right, when speech is so hard during the session, somehow, during physio they started singing and then we're like, okay, let's sing along.
yeah.
Or maybe during speech session, they feel like standing. Standing is, good for them. And maybe even you just stand them up as well, things like that. I think that's like more transdisciplinary and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So at this point, I'm just going to tell our audience, right? If you have any questions, please feel free to type it in the chat. We will answer your questions. But also, I think very timely that you mentioned that, because there's one question here that I think is quite appropriate. Actually, two questions. One is, how do you motivate a loved one to exercise when they are always so tired after a stroke or brain injury? Yeah. So,
Okay. Fatigue is very real.
mm,
Yeah, and it really demoralizes someone, especially like, they just have a stroke, like during the very acute phase, the first 1 2 months, and actually it persists on.
Yeah.
So earlier on, the question is, how do I motivate, right? So first and foremost, you need to find out what are the internal motivators of the patient. For example, some of them, maybe they used to be teachers, and they're retired teachers. They say, oh, I want to help my grandchildren to write worksheets. So that is a motivation itself. To prepare a worksheet, you need to go and get the paper, and then you need to, start thinking what to write. Or maybe if let's say hand movement is an issue, you can use like voice activated programs, or even on Word, just say, okay, the questions and then the answers, and just print out the worksheet. So when they are engaged in things that are meaningful to them, they will find more motivation to do it. Yeah, but I must say, it's post-stroke depression is actually very real as well. I think I have to dissect the question into two parts, because one part is about tiredness, like real tiredness, because the brain needs time to recover, and then the other part, the tiredness could be due to underlying depression, because post-stroke depression can be as high as 70% of people who just got the stroke, and it can go as undiagnosed. And like sometimes family member, when they don't understand, it's not that they don't care, but when they don't understand, they may mistake them as being lazy. Yeah, so when the words comes out of you perceiving, like the caregiver perceiving the patient as being lazy, it actually can push the patient even further in. Yeah, so that's why we have to work as a team, like not just me alone. I have to ask like my colleagues, like the occupational therapists and even the speech therapists, to say, hey, what do you think about the patient? So usually through feedbacks like that, we can tease out whether the patient is really just lazy, but usually it's not the case. Or are they suffering from depression? Yeah. If those two are not the ones and they're just tired, then we will pace out. Say, for example, maybe a physio session is 1 hour. Say, okay, never mind, we'll split it up. You can take as much as you can, but we'll try to do some goals today. So we set the objectives of that day, and then we say, okay, can you do this? If they commit themselves, say, yes, I'll try. That is a very good start already. Whether or not you get to the point is another thing, but the moment that they say they're willing to try, I think it's half the battle won.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I think you brought up such a good point, right? Because this thing about fatigue, right? Like post-stroke neuro fatigue, it's such a real phenomenon that I think it's very under discussed, because it impacts clinical work across all disciplines. Physiotherapy, maybe because like the physical management, you like they don't want to walk, but then it affects all our work also. Like as a therapist, sometimes they're tired. They're simply too tired to push on, right?
To focus on the task. Yeah.
And of course, I think also an issue. I also want to just highlight at this point that especially our patients and our clients who have aphasia, right? Their mood is especially affected, and this is actually backed by research, right? That studies that some after a stroke, with and without aphasia, the person with aphasia at a much higher risk, up to 93% more likely to actually suffer from low mood and depression compared to somebody who has communication problems. These are very real that patients face after a stroke. That's a really good point. So, what challenges? Another question, right? Challenges skills encounter when working with patients who have aphasia?
Okay. First and foremost, there are two types of aphasia. Evelyn has taught me very well on that. So we have the receptive aphasia, means when you talk to them, they don't understand what you're saying. Then we also have the expressive, means they have difficulty expressing themselves. Okay, these two broad types. Of course, I know there are probably a lot more, but like for me as a physiotherapist, I look at these two. And a lot of times they have a mix.
Yes. Very
right.
good.
So then, yes, it's a challenge, because, for example, my the way I talk to the patient will have to be in very simple words. Yeah. And even if simple words can't work, then I will go into demonstration.
Very good.
If demonstration doesn't work, I'll go contextual cue, meaning I'll just point to the chair. Yeah, okay, sit down, for example. Yeah, and I'll say sit down. Yeah, it is not being rude, but it's the choice of words and the length of words that matters. Keep it as simple as possible and as few words as possible. Yeah. But sometimes they don't even understand. When they have global aphasia, it's like, oh my goodness. And you just have to rely on contextual cue. And that's why there are research that says if they have very complex aphasia, it is one of the barriers to improvement for physical activity, like physical function. Yeah. So my heart goes out to them because we take talking so for granted most of the times. And then when aphasia hits us, it's just so debilitating. You want to say something, especially those with expressive aphasia, those who have difficulty saying. And a lot of these people that I met, they're high flyers, super high flyers. They could be like directors, they could be lawyers, they could be engineers, they could be like CEOs of their own company. And suddenly they lost the ability to speak.
Yeah.
Something simple but yet so important.
That's right. Yeah. Really, they have really, really so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna move away from aphasia for a bit and answer some general questions about physiotherapy.
Okay.
Very interesting questions, huh? Okay. So
Okay.
how is a physiotherapist, a PT, different from a gym instructor or a trainer, physical trainer?
Okay. First and foremost, we are regulated by AHPC, Allied Health Practitioner Council. Is it? Sorry. But yeah, I know the short form, AHPC. So that means you can actually find our names on the registry. Yeah, on the registry of the Allied Health Practitioner together. Yeah, under MOH. Unfortunately, I think at this point in time, gym instructors, they are not regulated. Yeah. That's one. So that's why when someone has a stroke or ankle sprain and they see a doctor, they get referred to physio because we are backed by medical sciences. Not saying they are not, but like we are the first ones to handle the acute injuries. Yeah. So for gym instructors, they do see people with injury as well, but I think much later. So they're looking more at like sports performance. Okay, after the ankle injury, I do not have issues with pain. I do not have issues with walking. But how can I then hit my 10 flat in say 2.4 kilometers? Yeah. So then you'll be looking at other parameters like, okay, maybe it's your posture or what. This is a little bit overlap because I know sports physio also does that, but we have the ability to diagnose.
Okay.
Yeah, and treat. Whereas I think a fitness trainer don't. Yeah. And if anything happens to them, sorry, your insurance is done. You cannot claim. Yeah, and there's very real reasons behind it as well. Yeah.
What I'm hearing is also because as physiotherapists, I mean, of course, we all go through years of training and learning.
Yes.
And that's why we are able to
and registered with MOH.
That's right.
Yeah.
But then there's one more question, somewhat related but different also. The question this reader is asking, how do I decide whether to go for physiotherapy or chiropractor after if I have backache or something? And I had a question before from friends.
I think it's like, for example, if you have backache, would you see a Chinese sensei? Would you see a physio or would you see a chiropractor, for example? Because I bring in an osteopath. Yeah. And there's Western and Chinese osteopath also. Yeah. Because within Chinese TCM medicine, you have the acupuncture, you have all that. So how do you decide then? Yeah. So I mean, I think that's a very valid question. But standing from physio's point of view as one of the, as one of the many physiotherapists in Singapore, why I would think you choose us is because okay, so for physio, we look at muscles, bones, joints, to some extent, neuro wiring, biopsychosocial, that means what motivates the patient and what led them to this injury. So I would say we really treat it at the root. the root of the problem. That means, it could be your perception of certain training. Like for example, HITT is good for me. I'm gonna do 100 times this week. Oh no, there is research that you're gonna hurt yourself real bad. Yeah, so we won't recommend like, okay, HITT is the in thing, and you go and do like 100 times. No, yeah, we will tell you that you need to slowly condition your body to HITT. Maybe you start with moderate intensity first, then you go high intensity. Yeah. Whereas chiropractor I think it's a totally different discipline. Well, we may treat similar conditions, but I can't represent them, so I can't say very accurately what they do. But from my basic understanding is that they look at everything in accordance to the alignment of the spine.
Right.
So if you have stomach pain or your spine, there's some malalignment of your spine, so they'll crack, they'll align. And I'm not saying they're not good. There are some that are really effective. Yeah. But we need to also know that the spine is also held by muscles. So if you crack your spine 30 times and you try to maintain the muscle, the spine, by cracking 30 times, it may not be as sustainable as maybe say seeing a physio who also trains your muscle. Like in terms of the speed of improvement may be faster if you treat it like all encompassing.
Okay, so
yeah.
And because I do hear this, and totally I hear from friends. I don't opinion. I mean,
yes,
I have some opinion, but I don't know enough. And I have friends that, oh, I kind of gave up on physio because I feel like I'm seeing results after I've gone like 2 times, and then when I go back the one time results. Do you hear comments like this?
Okay, I think one of the things is that as physios we are limited by marketing. So we cannot market certain things. We can't give like, free session. It's actually against our practice. Yeah. So we can't say, please come down for a free scan. And we don't order, we can order x-ray, but like we don't like make everyone go through x-ray because of the, the exposure to x-ray is really detrimental. Like, I mean, how many times you're going to take a spine x-ray, right? And actually spine x-ray can't really tell you very much. So it's also about marketing, like how you get the word out there, like a chiro, like, chiro is actually very well represented and they carry themselves very well, I must say, very well. So first is marketing. So second thing is that, yes, exercise is painful.
Yeah.
Honestly, how many of us exercise 5 times a week? Like we go out there and walk 5 times? No, I don't think so. I mean, Singapore is so busy, and like how many of us can actually dedicate the time, the discipline to do it? So maybe you have not found a physio who can relieve your pain. That's all I can say. But physio can relieve pain immediately as well. I mean, even stroke. Yeah, even stroke, within one session, you can see some results. I'm not saying like cure, but you do see some results in one session. And we're not miracles. We're not miracle healers. You can't expect, maybe say a 5-year issue to be solved within one session. That's not possible.
Right.
Yeah. And muscles and joints, you need intensity. That means intensity meaning repetition.
Right.
So you need a lot of repetition to condition your muscle such that it forms a certain muscle memory to allow you to move appropriately. Then you are actually treating the problem at the root. If not, 2 sessions of chiro, yes, but they will make you sign like a package of 30 sessions for maintenance or something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
I think it's a really, really good point. I mean, because I suppose there's always this comparison between what you all do and like maybe some even TCM, right?
it's normal. Yeah, it's a free market out there. So I mean, if people choose like, I don't believe in physio, I believe in Chinese instead. I mean, it's, of course it's free choice, but I'm just saying that for physios, this is what we do. Yeah.
And there's a really good question here. Somebody asked, can I just go physio one time and learn the exercises and continue doing at home?
Okay. Depending on the condition, if you just have like a small ache, or maybe you just have I'm talking about musculoskeletal, I'm not talking about neuro. So if musculoskeletal, sometimes maybe one session is enough. Maybe it's just like the posture that you have this like forward head posture when you do your work, because like people are emerging from working from home and they start moving a bit more and they realize that, hey, my muscle have deconditioned a lot. So like certain hours at the office they might suffer some pains. Yeah, maybe learning posture is good enough. Yeah, maybe just one session. I mean those kind, like you just have a little bit of issue, I think that's okay. But if you're talking about chronic pain, no, one session is not enough, and we need to monitor what's your progress.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, because a lot of things stems from mindset.
I see. I mean,
So for example, some people have a neck pain here, they keep pressing. I have a pain here, I have a pain here, they keep pressing, right? So over time, maybe there wasn't that much pain, but the more they press, the more painful it gets. So you have to change the mindset. No, when there is a pain, you don't press.
right.
Sometimes one session you just gotta get into them. No, this is press. Yeah, it's about sometimes it's also about the mindset. Like I say, biopsychosocial. So we don't just treat your pain, we need to treat the mind,
Mm.
your beliefs, your perception. So that takes time.
Yeah. I see a comment over there by Jelly Jen. It's not easy to get a PT appointment sometimes. I suppose she didn't elaborate whether it's in the public system or private.
Public yeah.
I mean we were all from the public system, right? Public healthcare system.
Yeah.
So there's some truth to it. It is hard to get an outpatient appointment for any so what
Yeah, I think there is a waiting time, like probably 2 weeks you're lucky. Probably now standard is about 1 month. Yeah.
And if somebody needs do you think there's a question here as well that asks if I'm in pain or I have aches, should I go to the doctor, a GP first to get a referral, or should I just walk into a PT clinic? What do you think?
Okay, so this is to do with first contact practitioner. Generally, I think Singapore, we are not really practicing first contact practitioner, but of course you can go and see a physio. But if let's say, okay, now we're talking about probably money, dollar and cents now, because if you go to a public sector, you get a lot of subsidies. Yeah, but your appointment is very long. Once a month. Sometimes, you improve already. You still have to wait for another 3 weeks before you see another therapist. But unfortunately, there's a public system. Like in the private, if let's say you walk in and see a physio, right? Unfortunately, in our part of the country, we cannot claim insurance just like that. Yeah, so we have to actually go to a GP and say that, oh, I have a neck pain. Can you write me a referral to see a physio? Then that is when your personal accident insurance can be covered.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, for example, they fall down and then suffer a neck pain, or car accident, you have a whiplash, they need to see a physio. Then you have to go and see a doctor, get a referral so that you can claim for your expenses. Yeah.
I'm just going to do a bit of a plug for Kerrine's clinic right now. So she runs a clinic. She's the co-founder of a clinic called Saldorehab. It is located at Novena. Please, if you need any consultation for physiotherapy, especially if a loved one who has a neurological condition, I highly recommend the clinic because not every physiotherapy clinic knows how to work with neuro population. So do consider Saldorehab.
Thank you. Thank you. Actually, we also see a musculoskeletal, but because my partner, JC, he's also a musculoskeletal physio. So I see mainly the neuro population, whom I also co-manage with my colleagues like Evelyn and OTs. Yeah, they are complex enough. We have to work together as a team. Yeah.
I'm mindful of time, but there's one more question here about technology. So, what do physios or what I think there's this question about what kind of technological devices are being used right now.
That's a very wide question. So maybe I'll just go into what I know. Yeah. So what? Maybe I'll just go into what I know. So I'm also a firm believer of using technology because technology is here to make our life easier. So back then when I was a junior therapist, I literally had to carry patient and with 3 other people to walk. So these days, when I'm my own clinic, then I started looking for technological solutions. Things like as simple as electric hoist. To hoist the patient up so that I can work on standing, because standing has a lot of benefits. For example, standing makes you more alert. All right, it improves your lung function. So even during speech therapy, sometimes I do work with, even back in the hospital days, I would just send a patient and she'll ask the patient to sing or swallow or things like that to make the patient more alert in the acute setting. So standing also helps you to stretch. your calves, which is very important. Like people don't realize how important calf stretches are until they lost the ability to walk. Yeah, and when they regain the ability to walk, because the calf is so shortened, they can't even put their heel down. That's the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so standing is very important. So, me being like, what's my height? I'm only 1.53. So I have patients who are like 1.9. How? Yeah, I can't be like hiring like two other TAs to, like just stand my patient. Like, and, it depends on patient flow also.
Just in
Sorry?
case the jargon, TA stands for therapy assistance. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, therapist assistant. Yeah, so then I have like hoist to help me to reduce the risk for falls and it makes the physio session more, how to say, more engaging in a standing position and more functional rather than, trying to half stand the patient and then, half achieving what I want to achieve during the session. So there's the other thing that I'm also looking into is like exoskeleton.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically, like robot cop that people wear, and they will actually help the patient, assist the patient who has difficulty walking to walk. Of course, it has its limitation, but I do see a lot of benefits in that as well. I don't need to move an arm, control the body, and then, try to stabilize them with two other people, and then I have to like give commands. The robot just automates it.
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen these exoskeletal devices. It is so cool. It is like, yeah, it's super, super cool. It's really like watching RoboCop. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
yeah, but I'm gonna roll that out later. Later part of
No
the year, or if not next year. Yeah. So I'm looking on all this, and things like even tele-rehab is technological. So for example, I can see a patient maybe in Malaysia, like during COVID times, and they're seeking to come in, but they're quarantined in the hotel. So what do? Tele-rehab. That's how we kickstart first. Although there are limitations for physio during tele-rehab, I must say, but it's better than nothing.
Yes. Agree.
Yeah.
It's the same for us.
Yeah.
We know.
Yeah.
Like there are limitations to not being able to see and feel and like touch.
Yes.
But then it's nothing. Something is nothing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So accessibility. Yeah. So these are some of those that I can think off my head. Yeah, but if you're talking about like musculoskeletal, we have like shockwave, we have TICA machine. I mean, not we. We have shockwave TICA machine to help with tendon regeneration, reduce pain, reduce swelling. That some of the other physio clinics also have.
Yeah. You know all these things. A lot of it flew over my head, right? I'm not familiar. But
yeah, come and see. Then you know.
Okay, so we have actually come to the end of our session because we are mindful that it is past 30.
Time flies.
I know time flies, right? And I really want to thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your insights with us about.
Thank you for having me.
It's a broad topic, and we know that there'll be questions. If you have questions, keep them coming. We will always invite different healthcare experts to share their perspectives and expertise. It could be maybe not Instagram live, but another online conference, virtual conference. So tell us your questions. We will take them. And thank you, Kerrine, so much for spending time with us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Okay, please join us for the rest of our activities for Aphasia Awareness Month.
Yes, Aphasia, go.
Yeah. Go to our website. We have an events page where you register for all the events. So our website is www.sg/events. Okay, event as in www.sg is the website lah. Then if events, you go to the events page. Yeah. Thank you all so much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
Thank you.